It all began on a quiet Monday morning. I was sitting at the kitchen table nursing my coffee when a notification popped up on my phone. My security camera had detected movement near the side gate. I live in a peaceful, gated community, the kind where the HOA prides itself on perfection. You'd think that would mean calm and harmony, but in reality it just gave our resident tyrant, Karen, carte blanche to enforce her personal rule book. Karen wasn't the official HOA president, but she might as well have been. Her passive-aggressive notes and unsolicited lectures were legendary. She once filed a complaint because a neighbor had a garden gnome she deemed too whimsical. Back to Monday. I stepped outside to check the gate and immediately realized something was wrong. The latch wouldn't move. I wiggled it, then pulled harder, still stuck. That's when I noticed it. The latch had been glued shut. Not taped, not zip-tied, super-glued. I froze, staring at it in disbelief. Who does this? And then it hit me, the argument Karen and I had last week. She'd complained that my trash cans were visible for longer than 5 minutes after pickup and threatened me with a fine. I had laughed and closed the door in her face. Clearly, she had not taken it lightly. Fuming, I filed a police report, even though I knew that without concrete evidence, it would likely go nowhere. But I did have proof. My security footage captured everything. Karen waddling up to the gate at 6:02 a.m., decked out in a bright pink robe and rubber gardening gloves. She dabbed something on the latch, glanced around, then strutted off as if she'd accomplished a heroic deed. I posted a screenshot from the footage to the HOA group chat with the caption, "Someone vandalized my property." Any guesses? The responses poured in. A few acted oblivious, some dropped popcorn emojis, and then Karen chimed in, "Maybe if you followed the HOA rules, people wouldn't be so frustrated." No denial. Just a passive-aggressive confession. I smirked, took a sip of my now cold coffee, and decided if she wanted to play dirty, I could play too. Karen had picked the wrong neighbor. After her not-so-subtle confession, I knew I held the moral high ground, but I wasn't going nuclear just yet. I gave her a chance to make it right. I replied, "Karen, I have video proof of you vandalizing my property. You can either apologize and cover the damages, or I will escalate this." I waited. A full day passed. No apology, no knock at the door. Instead, Karen paraded past my house 3 times, deliberately slow, beach towel in hand, clearly hoping to provoke me. That's when it became obvious. This wasn't about trash cans or HOA rules. It was about control. And I was about to take that control away from her. That evening, I got to work, but not in the literal gluey sense. I dove into the HOA rule book, the bylaws, and community guidelines online. Buried in the maintenance section under driveway regulations, I found my opening. All vehicles parked in driveways must be registered with the HOA in operable condition or face immediate towing at the board's discretion. The light bulb went off. Karen had a second car, a dusty white Lexus parked sideways in her driveway. It hadn't moved in months, and knowing Karen, she had never bothered registering it. She was far too busy harassing teens on skateboards or posting rule reminders on doors. I snapped a few photos from the sidewalk, completely legal, submitted a report to the HOA enforcement portal, and followed up with a call to the management company. I even noted that her car created a visual disturbance, knowing how she valued aesthetics. 2 days later, the call came. Her car would be towed the next morning, and I had front row seats. At 8:14 a.m., a massive tow truck rolled up. Karen ran out in pajama pants and a visor, shrieking about her property rights. But the driver ignored her. Paperwork in hand, he hooked up the Lexus, lifted it, and it was gone in under 10 minutes. I waved from my porch. She screamed something about calling the HOA president. Too bad for her. I was friends with the actual president. Karen had no idea who she was tangling with. The moment the Lexus disappeared down the street, Karen went full scorched earth. She stomped back into her house, slamming the door so hard the decorative wreath bounced on the hinges. I half expected her to march over with a megaphone or start pelting my windows with passive-aggressive sticky notes. But no, she went digital instead. By noon, my inbox was overflowing with emails from the HOA mailing list. Not 1 or 2, 5 long-winded complaints, all authored by Karen herself, sent within the span of an hour. The subject lines read like the opening of a daytime drama. unjust vehicle towing, abuse of HOA policy, harassment in our community, misuse of surveillance equipment, and call for emergency HOA meeting. Each email was a melodramatic manifesto about how certain residents were weaponizing HOA rules for personal vendettas and how the sacred bonds of neighborly respect had been completely obliterated. She even accused me, obviously me, of spying on neighbors and harboring revenge fantasies. I couldn't help but laugh. This was the same woman who once measured my lawn with a ruler and reported me for having excessive dandelions. But I stayed quiet publicly. No need. The HOA president, Maria, stepped in first. Calm but razor-sharp, she replied to the thread. Karen, our policy allows for reporting unregistered and inoperable vehicles. Your car had not been moved for 67 days and was not registered with the HOA, making it eligible for removal. Please submit documentation if otherwise. Otherwise, this matter is closed. Mic drop on Karen went silent for a full day. Then around 5 p.m. the next evening, she finally emerged from her lair. I was trimming the hedge along my walkway when I heard her footsteps. I turned just in time to see her marching toward me, arms crossed, lips tight. "You think you're clever?" she hissed. "I don't think it," I said without looking up. "I know it," her eye twitched. "This isn't over." "Actually," I replied, "it kind of is. You glued my gate shut. I let the HOA handle your car. Seems fair. You're a menace and a walking Facebook rant." She stormed off, muttering something about lawsuits and teaching people lessons. But as she rounded the corner, I saw her phone in her hand, probably drafting her next email tantrum. I wasn't worried. I knew her well enough. She wasn't about to let this fade quietly. Sure enough, 3 days later, I found a violation notice taped to my front door. Excessive use of exterior lighting. Apparently, my solar pathway lights, which had been installed for 2 years, were now a major environmental hazard. Pathetic, but I had to respect the commitment to pettiness. This was full-on HOA warfare. I could have fought it, but I had a better idea. One last play, entirely within the rules that would drive her absolutely insane. That night, I visited my friend Maya, a professional event decorator, and borrowed a few props. By morning, I was ready. At precisely 7 a.m., Karen opened her curtains and saw it. My front yard transformed into a chaotic spectacle worthy of the 4th of July. Flamingos lined the walkway. A welcome home from prison banner spanned the porch. There was even an inflatable bounce house just for flair. I stood on my lawn, watering the grass, acting as if nothing were out of the ordinary. Karen came out purple in the face. "You've lost your mind!" she shrieked. "Good morning to you, too," I replied deadpan. "You can't do this." "Oh, I can," I said. "According to the guidelines, decorations are allowed for 7 days for special events. And I hereby declare this week Neighborhood Awareness Week." She tried to storm toward me but tripped over a flamingo. I almost offered help but didn't. The neighbors, finally fed up with Karen's antics, began joining in. By noon, 5 houses had pink flamingos on their lawns. 2 more added banners, and 1 even displayed a cardboard cutout of Karen scowling with a speech bubble reading, "You can't park there." Karen called an emergency HOA meeting that night. Only 2 people showed up and 1 brought popcorn. In the end, she backed off. No more notes, no more glue, no more emails. She even started parking her car in the garage like the rest of us. Justice wasn't flashy. It was slow, steady, and just petty enough to feel satisfying. And every time I walked past her house and saw the blinds twitch, I smiled. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living your life while someone else stews in fury. If you loved watching Karen get exactly what she deserved, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life revenge stories, HOA madness, and satisfying petty payback. And drop a comment. What would you have done if someone glued your gate shut? Would you have gone further than towing the car? I'm reading every reply.